Hello, it's Ben, and I'm in the bathroom with a leaky toilet. So if you have a leaky toilet, let me show you what you can do to fix it. That is the toilet slowly leaking water. You can't see any water coming down, but it sure is leaking. So there's normally a water shutoff on one or the other side of the toilet. And these don't get open and closed very often, so you can have lime build up and things like that inside them that make them want to be really stiff. So just be careful when you go to turn it off that you're not overly aggressive. You don't want to end up creating another problem by breaking this valve. Then you're going to want to lift this porcelain top off. It's fairly heavy. Be careful to put it someplace safe so it doesn't fall. Matter of fact, I'll put it on the floor, because if that breaks, you pretty much have to buy a new toilet. This is the mechanism that fills the toilet up. And what is supposed to happen is this ball comes all the way up and turns it off. So the water level shuts it off. But if you're leaking water into the bowl, it never shuts all the way off and you have a constant flow of water. So the culprit is that black flapper with the yellow float. When I lift this up, all the water is going to go down. As the water level drops in the tank, the yellow float will no longer be able to keep that black flapper up, and it will end up making a seal and allow the tank to fill back up. But what happens is that yellow float ends up deforming that black flapper, and it can't seal all the way up, and that's what causes the leak. You're going to carefully reach in and disconnect that black flapper. Some rubber tabs on each side. It's a lot easier to do when you're not holding a camera with one hand. Once you have it out, you're going to want to set that off to the side and take a good look at it. It's this little floats there to help lift it up, and it's always pulling up on it. And you can see, I don't know if you can see. Can you see how there's a raised spot right there? You see how it goes up? It never actually seals. So water always leaks there. You're going to want to take this to the box store, the hardware store, because once you get there, they all look the same. And after spending a few minutes looking at the ones at the store, you should be able to find one that matches. Same width, same holes. And you can see this one is really, really pliable. It goes back on the same way. You have to get it over those little tabs on each side. This one has a chain, and we're going to adjust that chain. So before I started filming this video today, I had taken the flapper out and went to the box store and found the appropriate replacement. And that's what you really want to do. You want to take the piece off and go to the store with it so you make sure you get the right one. And even though you can't see what I'm doing, I'm actually adjusting the chain so that way the flapper's up in the air when it's hooked to the lever. This has a slot for that beaded one, but it also has a hole if you've got a clip. So I moved my clip down some. So even after the water's been turned back on and you flush the toilet a couple times, you might find out that you need to adjust the chain length. You can see when I lift this up, it's going to go up. You can also adjust that yellow float, which will end up adjusting how much water flushes into the toilet. Now the next thing to do is to turn the water back on. Well, it won't take too long and this tank will be filled back up with water. And as the water rises, that yellow float will rise too, but it won't have enough buoyancy to pull that flapper up. You wouldn't think it, but the water weighs enough that it's actually going to keep that flap shut until you pull the handle. Now as the water rises in the tank, that big black ball is afloat too, and it will rise up, and as it rises, it will slowly close off the water going into the tank. And eventually it turns back off. The end of this chain is a little long, so I am going to do something about that. The reason why I don't want the chain just to hang there is because it might get underneath that flapper and keep it from sealing all the way. So I'll just end up hooking the excess onto that clip. Well, now that you've seen how the inside of the tank works, it's really not that complex. I'll let the tank fill back up and we'll flush it once or twice, and then I think we can say this project is done. Be careful when you put the porcelain top back on. For the next couple of times you flush the toilet, you might see some sand or some grit in the water, and that's fine. That's just scale that was in the pipe or around that valve that you turned on and off, getting washed through the system. Normally I stand next to my fixed project, but I'm not going to put my head down next to the toilet. Well, I hope that shows you how you can fix a leaky toilet. It's not that hard. Once again, it took longer to go to the hardware store, find the part, than it did to replace it. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, check out my playlist, and I'll see you in whatever plumbing video I'm in next.